That's New York for you. The move is getting real. Ultimately, just how to become the truest, best version of yourself. And now I'm doing physical therapy. I'm gonna adjust my workouts. I have a meeting with a team. I had such a great therapy session this morning. Hi guys. I know I'm the most inconsistent content creator in the world at this point, especially for those of you who've been with me ever since, I don't know, like 12 years ago when I first moved to New York. And I've been sharing my wellness journey, vegan journey, living in New York, moving to the islands. There's so much that's been going on in the last 12 years in my life, and I've gone for so much change. And especially recently too, like I really feel this transformational period once again. And I've been wanting to share so many things with you, and I feel like Instagram just doesn't cut it anymore. Like Instagram is consumed, or meant to be consumed, very fast-paced. It's just a different format. And even though I love it for certain things, but like open conversations, heart to heart, truly sharing things that I find useful or really helpful for me in so many different ways and different aspects of wellness, I feel like YouTube is just such a better space for that. It provides that. So I'm back. I don't know how consistent I'm gonna be. I think I'm gonna try to do more of a free flow around my lifestyle, but also sharing things that I've been discovering that I really love and that make a difference in my life and well-being overall. And so that's gonna be it. So I gotta run in, that's New York for you. I gotta run and just cut my bangs a little shorter today, even though I got my hair done quite recently, but it just grows so fast, you know, and this is a bit too long for me. And I'll show you a little bit of New York on the way. Also guys, if you love candles just like I do, this brand, which I've tried for the first time, and by the way, Salt and Stone, they also make the cleanest deodorant in the world that I use every day. It's so good. Honestly, this scent-wise and everything, it's really, really, really good. Try it, you'll love it. I kind of was about to walk out, and then I was like, okay, let me show you my outfit, because I feel like it's very New York-y. Like it's so casual, I don't care how I look like kind of outfit. If you've ever been to New York, I think you know what I mean. And also if you notice that my apartment is kind of empty and kind of getting messy, that's because I'm moving out next week. So yeah, if you notice any weird stuff around, that's why. So my hairstylist is all the way downtown. I'm gonna take a train now, and it's gonna take me about 30 minutes to get there. To the Central Park, brought my favorite book, and now I'm just gonna find a place to sit in the grass, take off my shoes, and kind of just be, you know? Maybe we'll stay for the sunset, I don't know. Now the sunset's kind of late, I think after 8 p.m, so I'll see if I want to stay. But it's such a beautiful day. Let me show you guys around. This is the spot. I think it's gonna sunset in about an hour, so I might stay even though my phone is dying, which I don't like. I brought some strawberries with me. This is the book, and if you're following me on Instagram, you probably saw it like 5 million times already. I just recently went to the signing of this book. It's by Brianna West. It's her very recent book, The Pivot Year, and it's basically like 365 meditations. But I wouldn't really call them, you know, meditations. Essentially, it's just kind of a thought, self-reflection moment. It's very interesting. She's incredibly talented with words. You know, every time I read her books, it really moves me. Like, I really connect to her way of thinking, her way of expressing it, her way of connecting certain insights. I really came to so many points of self-awareness. Like, I've had so many moments of self-awareness while reading her books. I've also read 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think by her, and then The Mountain Is You as well. And they're all around this message of how to get past beliefs that you might have just been conditioned into adopting without questioning, and how to overcome patterns of self-sabotage, especially in the ways that we don't even notice. Ultimately, just how to become the truest, best version of yourself, you know? So yeah, really love her writing, so would absolutely recommend to everybody if you haven't checked her out yet. Good morning, guys. The move is getting real. I started backing over the weekend because I'm moving in a couple of days, and I was about to work out a little bit, and I realized that I didn't tell you yet, but basically a month and a half ago, and you might have seen that on Instagram, I went to a doctor to check on my knee. I've had this feeling in both of my knees for a very long time. And so a month and a half ago, they gave me much better news because an MRI specialist made a mistake. And so my actual doctor did not see the imaging, the MRI itself, and they concluded that there was no meniscus tear in my knee, and instead they diagnosed me with a Baker's cyst, which is a bit kind of like lighter diagnosis to live with. And so I started physical therapy. I went back to my workouts and all of that. Last week, my doctor finally got his hands on the actual MRI from the clinic I went to. And so he said, clearly there's a meniscus tear in your right knee. It's stable for now, but let's talk through options and what that means. And that was really shocking to me because, again, like after that diagnosis a month and a half ago, I was so happy and relieved, and I didn't see this one coming. So still processing it. I'm thinking to transition out of HIIT workouts that I've been doing for years, and I'm so used to them and I love them, but they're too intense in terms of impact on my knees. And so I'm thinking of transitioning slowly to Pilates types of workouts. And I've never been into them. Like, I've tried and but again, now I feel like that is the healthiest, the best option for my body long term. So if you guys know any good Pilates workouts, platforms, trainers, please share your recommendations. I would really appreciate it. Meanwhile, today I'm just going to do some stretching, a bit of yoga. Really just want to start the day for a movement, but because I think mentally I'm still processing the news, like I'm being so overly cautious with my knees. And so I just want something slow and gentle to start the day, and then I'm going to jump into work. So yeah, just a reminder to anybody who needs to hear it. Go to a doctor if you feel that something's off. Stop pushing it back. Stop postponing it. I've had this sensation for years. I've lived with it. I kind of got used to it to a point where I feel like I almost disconnected from it, but I'm really happy that I finally made myself go to see a doctor, and now I'm doing physical therapy. I'm gonna adjust my workouts. And so if you are thinking about going to a doctor for one reason or the other, please do. Clarity is always better, so that then you can have a plan of action. Hey guys, haven't vlogged for a few days now. It's been kind of crazy work-wise, and this morning was really back-to-back. Started early morning on the video calls and worked all the way through 3 p.m., which is now. And now we have a meeting with a team at some art exhibition, and then early dinner as well. such a great therapy session this morning, and I thought I would share a few thoughts with you guys on therapy in general. It might be worth doing a separate video on this topic because I'm very passionate about this topic. It's not that I always used to be, but now I am. I started therapy or tried it for the first time 2.5 years ago, and I've been before that I was really resisting it for a few reasons. One, I thought that I would out-shrink any shrink because I've always been this person who reads so many books on self-awareness, self-development, growth, mindset, all of that stuff. So I almost felt like, why would I invest my time in someone else who would tell me all the same things that I've read in books anyway? That was my first thought. My second one was because I'm kind of like an extroverted introvert that I call myself. I'm sure some of you can relate. I love people, I love social moments, but more like with a closer group of people, or at the very least, meaningful conversations versus small talk. I can't do small talk, really kind of drains me. But then at the same time, I really need my alone time. I love my alone time. I need to recharge. And so to me, therapy session was like another social commitment because you have to pretty much sit down with a stranger at the very beginning and explain yourself, share your feelings, kind of share your life story, I was like, oh my God, that's so much work. And so that was my second one. I was like, I don't have energy for this. So much is happening in my life all the time. I'm so busy. And the third one was, of course, financial, because therapy is really expensive. I actually researched a few platforms to share with you guys where there are organizations that can help you connect with affordable therapy, or there are also free therapy sessions, but they're more like in a group settings, but still, so there are available resources. I'll share what I found. But the way I solved that problem, in the beginning, I actually started with a Russian therapy platform and a Russian therapist. And so because of the conversion from dollars to rubles, I was pretty much saving money. It was much more affordable for me. But also then I realized I really needed an English-speaking therapist, and now that makes a big difference for me. It's much more helpful. But now I'm really, really lucky and grateful that my company, the company I work for, Farfetch, they actually provide free access to therapy, and that's where I met my current therapist, who I absolutely love working with. And that's another point. I went through three therapists before finding her, and it makes day and night difference if a therapist you're working with, you really click and you feel like that's your person. And sometimes, again, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad therapist, like one is worse than the other. It's really just like with people in real life, with some you click, with some you don't. It's like an energy, personality thing. And I think that's made such a difference. And so I was resisting for so many reasons, right, in the beginning, and even when I started, because it wasn't truly like a good fit of a therapist for me. But luckily, my partner, because he had a very positive experience with therapy before I even tried, and so he shared that with me, and I think that really encouraged me to try. That was like the last tipping point for me. I was like, okay, what do I have to lose? If anything, it's only I'm gonna gain a positive experience through this. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, So the biggest benefit of this is that you guys will have so many blind spots. Like when I share my experiences, my thoughts, my feelings, certain questions, like most of the questions my therapist asks me, I never think about. And I think I'm like such an overthinker. And I ask a billion questions of myself every single day because I'm very curious, like I'm detailed oriented. And I'm like, how in the world I never thought about it? Either never thought about it at all or never thought about it this way. And so there's so much value in that outside perspective of an educated, licensed, professional therapist, because you really don't see yourself fully holistically. And so what that does is it helps you, first of all, really bring that deep level of awareness of all of your experiences, all parts of yourself, all sides to every single story, situation, feeling, emotion, whatnot. And it really helps to integrate that into your identity, accept it. And that alone makes such a big shift in your perspective, because accepting yourself, I think, is the number one life mission in terms of getting to peace of mind and healthy mental state day to day, this is the number one goal, really. And without that self-awareness and without that integration of everything and anything that is you, that's just not possible. And I think most of the time it's very difficult or even impossible to do it on your own, because again, you're like too zoomed in on your life, and you need someone who can pick those things that you're kind of really not recognizing or noticing, or maybe even subconsciously pushing them away, blocking them out. And of course, outside of that, there are certain exercises, practices that you can learn from your therapist that help you or become like your tool set in a day-to-day stress management or mindset, again, mental health. So just having that support and having that safe, non-judgmental space to just express yourself shamelessly, because sometimes even with a therapist, like in the beginning, when you're still getting used to it, you're like, oh my God, like I'm kind of ashamed to share these things. But that's exactly the purpose of therapy, is to have that unconditional support that, you know, with any other people, you would always question, like, how are they going to think about me if I share this or if I say that? Or like, you know, we tend to judge ourselves so harshly that we project that other people would do the same thing. But with a therapist, you know for sure that that's not going to happen, because they're there to truly listen, understand, support, and not judge, and just help you. Lastly, you know, whether you think you have a specific trauma or something to work through or not, it's a really healthy practice of not keeping stuff in your head or just bottling up internally. It's just like with working out and everything else, it's so important to do. And, you know, even if you have a very close circle of friends or a very supportive family or a loved one who you love sharing your life with, you also can't just, I mean, it's not the best thing to put all of that onto the people you love, because we tend to do that so much. But I feel like there is such a benefit that I felt when you have this person outside of your circle that you talk to, you really work through certain things, emotional, trauma-wise or not. And then when you interact with your loved ones, it's like such a different dynamic and energy. And so I almost feel like it's really, it's a contribution to your relationships as well, all types of relationship, how you show up at work professionally, how you show up in your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, with your partner. And so honestly, I would encourage everyone and anyone to try it if you can, because it's one of the biggest pillars of wellness, mental health that I rely on. Of course, I had to spill my coffee on myself. I guess that's a sign to finish this video here. I have a crazy week ahead, a lot going on work-wise, and also I'm moving, so I'll try to film some of that. Until then, you guys have an incredible week, and I'll see you guys soon.